Hey friend, Jen here. Today we're going to do a full body workout. I'm going to guide you through every step of the way. We're going to be working out together. Before we dive in, I want to make sure you have everything you're going to need. You are going to want to have a medium set of dumbbells. You're going to want a resistance band close by, and you'll also want to make sure that you have good shoes and a water bottle because I'll give you time to take a breather. All right, you can pause the video if you need to grab anything. Otherwise, let's get started. All right, for our warm-up, we are going to start with 5 different exercises that will encourage our body just to warm up and move all of our different joints. We're going to do each exercise or each mobility drill for 60 seconds. We'll have about 15 seconds transition time. The first one we are going to do, starting with feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. You're going to reach down into a squat, reaching up overhead, big stretch as you do so. Full 60 seconds here. This is just your first exercise, so take it nice and slow, core nice and tight, reaching down, reaching overhead. Reaching down, reaching overhead. Keep it up. This is where we set our intention for the exercise session, for the workout. What energy do you want to bring here? Do you want it to be a positive experience? Do you want it to be an experience that pushes you? Take 15 seconds. Moving on, we are doing jumping jacks next. Remember, you get about 15 seconds breather here, and then we'll move on. 2 versions here that you can do, just without the jump or with the jump. Whatever you decide. You can even do a combination of both if you want. We're nice and tight. This should get your heart rate up pretty quick. Remember, if it becomes too much, you can always pause, take it to a step. We've got about 20 seconds here. Might start to feel it in your calves, in your shoulders. 3, 2, and 1. Good, take a couple seconds, 15 seconds. My mat's already all over the place. And we're just getting started. Next one we are doing is opposite arm swings. So feet shoulder width apart. You're thinking opposite arm swings. So opposite direction swinging. Full minute here. Core nice and tight. Hopefully you're not hitting the roof like I am here. Focus on your breathing here, especially if it's a little bit elevated or a little short of breath after those jumping jacks. Ten seconds here. Good, shake that out. You got about 15 seconds. Moving on to another one that's going to elevate our heart rate. We're going to do on the spot jogging. Now keep in mind, you do have a couple seconds. You got about 3, 2, 1, and good, on the spot jogging. Now if this is a little too high impact for you, you can always just do quick butt taps. Full minute here. Should already be starting to feel pretty warm. Like you're getting ready to go. it up, we're almost there. And we only have one last one. 3, 2, 1, and good. Shake that out, should be feeling pretty good here. The last one we are going to do is going to be a downward dog to a high plank. So we're gonna come on over to our mat, high plank position, from the toes, wrists in line with shoulders, high plank, pressing down to downward dog. Nice and slow here. This is a nice stretch across the back of the legs, as well as some movement within the shoulders. Keep it up, almost there. All right, and relax. That's our warm-up for the day. We're gonna dive right in, grab a quick drink if you need it, and I'll meet you back here. All right, so what we are going to start with is we're going to start by covering our lower body. We're going to get it done, get it out of the way. There is going to be 4 different exercises. One is per side, and we're going to do each for 45 seconds with 10 seconds transition time. Now, the slight catch here is that we want to do all 3 rounds back to back. So we're going to try and take as little rest as possible, and then I'll give you a nice long breather at the end of those 3 rounds. So I'll explain the exercises as we go in the first round, and then by the second and third, hopefully you'll be really familiar with everything and just rocking it. Okay, so we are going to start using our dumbbells. We are going to start with a weighted squat with a pulse. So grabbing your dumbbells, legs are slightly wider than shoulder width apart, toes out. This is a bit of a plie squat position. We're squatting, pulsing, standing up. Squat, pulse, stand up. Core nice and tight, back nice and flat. Knees are in line with our toes, so don't be afraid to check what your knees are doing. If they are caving in, excuse me, you want to shorten your stance. Keep it up. Got about 10 seconds here. Good. Take 10 seconds. We're starting at the top of our mat. Weight is going to be in front. This is going to be a stiff-legged deadlift with alternating reverse lunges.
Let's go.
So shoulders nice and back, soft bend in the knees. We are doing a stiff-legged deadlift, core nice and tight, curling, reverse lunge, reverse lunge. Bring it back down, stiff-legged deadlift. Nice and slow on the deadlifts. We want to make sure that we're having good form there, that our back is nice and flat. Lower, deadlift. Keep it up.
Seconds.
Almost there.
Rest.
Good. Put those aside. Yes, we are going to do skiers here. So legs fairly wide. I'm going to show you just so you can get the movement without the jump.
Let's go.
You're taking a wide stance. Leg comes behind, reaching down. Wide stance, leg comes down. I'm going to show it this way for the first round, and then we're going to add the hop for the second round. But I've done this so many times with clients where they are all over the place trying to get the jump with it. And I'd rather you have good form before we add that in. So get familiar with this movement. The progression is not much different. Keep it up.
10 seconds.
Almost there. Good, shake it out. You got 10 seconds and we're coming down to the ground. This is our exercise that is 45 seconds per side. 4-point kneeling, wrists in line with shoulders, knees in line with hips, bringing one leg up at a time. This can be weighted, but again, I'm going to show you without it to start. And then if we want to add the progression in later, we can.
Halfway there.
Core nice and tight here, drawing in that belly button, keeping the back nice and flat. You might start to feel this in the opposite glute that is working, and that's okay. That is your stability muscle working to keep your body still as you move.
Rest.
Good. Take a couple seconds. We got 10 seconds. Then we're switching it to the other side. Then we're right back at the top.
Let's go.
Keep it up. You might notice that one side is a bit more challenging than the other.
Halfway there.
It might be because you've already used the one side, or it could mean there's a little bit of an imbalance there. Focus on your form, and over time that should correct itself. Woo! Okay, we're quick turnaround here, starting with our squats to our pulse. Gotta bang out 3 rounds and get a nice long breather. Squat, pulse, stand. Now when I said knees caving in, what I meant is that when you're bending, if you see your knees falling in, make your stance a little more narrow. Don't forget our pulse. Squeezing those glutes at the top. Core nice and tight. Almost there. Remember, next one is our deadlift to our reverse lunges.
Rest.
Good. Shake it out. How's the legs feeling? Take a couple seconds starting at the top of your mat. Stiff-legged deadlift.
Let's go.
Back nice and flat. Shoulders are pulling back. Lift, curl, reverse lunge, reverse lunge. Don't be afraid to look at your feet before you do the deadlift to make sure that everything is nice and neutral in the right spot.
Halfway there.
Keep it up. This one feels pretty quick to me, I think, just because there's so much going on.
10 seconds.
Keep it up.
Rest.
Shake it out, take a couple seconds. We are now moving on to those skiers where I told you, where I said I would share the progression. So starting at the top there, in that position, that curtsy squat position, we're now doing a little hop to one side. Okay, as you get more familiar with this, you can increase the speed, but I want you to make sure that form is good here. The toes are facing forward. The knee stays over the foot.
Halfway there.
And if you want to just stick without the hop, totally fine.
10 seconds.
Keep it up. I'm feeling that burn. Second round.
Rest.
Good. Couple seconds. Moving down to the ground. We got 45 seconds per side of our glute abduction.
Let's go.
Take breathers if you need to. This one being a little less intense should help you bring your heart rate down before we complete our final round. after we've completed both sides here.
Halfway there.
You're doing great. I'm right here with you.
Seconds.
I am feeling the heat.
Rest.
Good. Take a couple seconds. Switching to our other side. I don't know about you, but I'm already sweating. Core nice and tight. Really making sure we're not arching the back here. Keeping it nice and neutral. Lifting through that knee. Keep it up, you're doing great.
Halfway there.
What's a word of encouragement that you can give yourself right now, no matter how you are feeling? If you're feeling great, what can you celebrate? If you're not feeling so great, how can you be your best cheerleader right now? Good. Couple seconds, pretty quick. Moving on to our squat with our pulses. I am right here with you guys.
Let's go.
Squat, pulse, stand. If you need any encouragement here, if you're like, this is hard, Jen. This is your last time doing these exercises. Then you get a nice long breather. And then we're done for lower body. So you just gotta get through this.
Halfway there.
Back nice and flat. Keep in mind when we have that weight in the front, sometimes it can be easy to hunch over. I want you to make sure the chest is nice and upright as you bend.
10 seconds.
So you're not leaning forward, but back stays nice and flat.
Rest.
Good, shake that off, coming to the top of the mat. We've got our stiff-legged deadlift, alternating reverse lunges. Here we go.
Let's go.
Deep breath. Down, back nice and flat, shoulders back. Curl, reverse lunge, reverse lunge. Lower the weight, reset yourself. Back down. Slight bend in the knees, always so that we feel it in our hamstrings without overextending them.
Seconds.
Keep it up, almost there.
Rest.
Good, set those weights aside. We got skiers. Remember, you have two options here. The slightly lower intensity one and the one with the hop.
Let's go.
Pick whichever makes the most sense for you. There's absolutely no judgment in this space. If you are not quite at the hop, totally fine. Not an issue. And if you're like, this hop is easy, I got this, you can always pick up the pace a little bit or add a weight. Almost there, guys. 10 seconds, I'm feeling that burn. My hops are becoming less and less hoppy. Woo. Core tight.
Rest.
Good. Take a couple seconds, down to the ground. We got our last two sides here. Then you get a water break.
Let's go.
Deep breath if you need it. You're doing great. This is the last bit.
Halfway there. Ten seconds.
1 rep at a time. That's all you gotta focus on.
Rest.
Good, take 10 seconds. This is the final countdown. Last one. I'll spare you my singing.
Last round.
Focusing on your breath here. That's the key to bringing down the intensity.
Halfway there. Ten seconds.
Nicely done. We are done the leg, lower body side of things. Now I'm going to give you a 1.5 minute rest. Take a breather, grab a drink. I'll meet you back here so we can continue the workout. Alrighty, we are back to it. Now we are moving into upper body. We're going to focus more on our arms for this next chunk. Same kind of format. You are going to do 4 different exercises. Each are 45 seconds, 10 seconds transition time. Same as before, we're going to try and get 3 rounds out of the way, back to back, and then we'll take a longer breather at the end. I'll go through the exercises as we go, and then by the second and third round, you'll be a pro. I did not mean to rhyme that. That was even more epic than I anticipated. Let's begin. I'm going to start the timer. We are starting with our dumbbells. Feet shoulder width apart, toes forward. This is going to be a bicep curl. Shoulders back, bicep curl. We are going slow on the lower. Okay, so fight gravity. Fight the urge to just let it fall down. I want control. All the way down. Palms face out the entire time. Keep it up. Core nice and tight here. We're not swinging through the back.
Ten seconds.
Keep it up. Good, shake it off. Next one is going to be a lateral raise. So feet shoulder width apart, toes forward, a slight bend in the elbows. We are lifting up to a T level. Okay, we don't need to go crazy high here. So just look in your peripheral vision. You'll know when you're at the right spot. Really important to keep a slight bend in the elbows to protect that joint. Core nice and tight here.
Halfway there.
Just a heads up, you will need your resistance band for the next exercise, so just keep that in mind. And if you don't have a resistance band, I still have something for you.
10 seconds.
Good, done with that. Setting those weights aside. We're going to take our resistance band, 1 foot over, in line with both hands, slight bend over, bent over row. Core nice and tight, pulling the elbows in. Now keep in mind, you can do the exact same motion with dumbbells. So if you don't have a resistance band, no issues. Pulling those elbows back, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Keep it up.
Halfway there. Ten seconds.
Almost there. Core nice and tight here, not arching through the back.
Rest.
Good. Coming to the edge of our mat. This is our last exercise before we start at the top. We are going to crawl down into an inchworm position. So bending through the legs, crawling down to a high plank. From high plank, push up. Now, if you need to, you can always do the push up from the knees. All the way down, high plank. Again, if you need to drop the knees, do so. Core nice and tight. Back up to the toes. Crawling back up.
Halfway there.
Whatever makes the most sense for you today.
10 seconds.
Keep it up.
Rest.
Good. Shake it out. You're doing awesome. Starting again with our bicep curl. This is round 2. Remember, slow on the lower. Curl, slow. Core nice and tight here. We have a tendency to lift too heavy, then we really start to swing our back. That's an indication that's not the right weight for you.
Halfway there.
Focusing on your breath here. Take breathers if you
10
need
seconds.
to. Because this is timed, you get to choose the quantity.
Rest.
Good, take a couple seconds. Lateral raise. If you need to adjust your weights, by all means do so, or you can do one side at a time.
Let's go.
Good. Shoulder level, slight bend in the elbows. You are doing amazing.
Halfway there.
Keep it up. Take
10
breathers if you need to. Remember, we got the resistance band row for the next one.
Rest.
Keep it up. You're here, you're with me, we're doing it together. You can switch feet if you want. Doesn't really matter so long as you have the right tension here in your arms as you do the row. So the one thing that's nice about a resistance band is you can always adjust the tension. So the tighter the band is, the more difficult it's going to be. The looser, the less intense. You make the call.
Halfway there.
Good, thinking about pulling our elbows back, keeping our shoulders down. If you start to feel it in your lower
10
back, you can
seconds.
always stand up, shake it out, core nice and tight, pulling through.
Rest.
Good, take 10 seconds. We've got our inchworms to push-ups. Just gonna give myself a little bit more room here. At the top,
Let's go.
crawling it down, core nice and tight. Push up from either the toes or the knees. Keep it up, you're doing great.
Halfway there.
1 rep at a time.
Ten seconds.
If you're doing them from the toes and the push-ups are getting challenging, you can always just adjust to the knees.
Rest.
Good job. Okay, listen up. This is where we dig deep here. We are on to our last round. Then you get a nice breather. Bicep curl,
Let's go.
slow lower. No matter how hard this is for you right now, I want you to cheer yourself on. Because I'm proud of you. I'm also proud of myself. It's not easy to just show up and do the work.
Halfway
So
there.
kudos to both of us. Core nice and tight here.
10 seconds. Rest.
Good, take a couple seconds. We've got our lateral raises. Feet shoulder width apart, slight bend in the elbows, shoulders relaxed,
Let's go.
lifting up to that T position. Keep it up, you're doing great. Again, if it's getting too tough, you can always alternate between one side at a time. That gets you a little bit of a rest
Halfway there.
on one side if you need it, or you can adjust the weight. You know, shoulders are a very small muscle, so if you find that to be really challenging, things like soup cans or books can sometimes be the perfect weight as well.
Rest.
Good job. Moving on to our resistance band row or dumbbell row, whatever you got. Back nice and flat, pushing those hips back. Head nice and neutral, we're not looking up. Going through the elbows. Again, if you find any part of your body is like, ooh, that's a little ouchy pain or it feels like fatigue, you can always stand up, shake it out, give yourself a minute, and jump back into it. Or adjust the
10
resistance.
seconds. Rest.
Good, relax. Take a couple seconds, take a breather. We got our inchworms to push-ups, then we're done, and it's time to have a rest.
Last round.
Let's finish strong. Whatever you decide to do, whether it's push-ups from the toes or the knees, core nice and tight. All the way back to standing. Nice plank position before the push-up.
Halfway there. Ten seconds.
And we're done. Awesome job. Take a breather. Give yourself a minute and a half. Grab some water. I'll meet you back here to finish it up. All right. Amazing job so far. So in the interest of keeping this workout nice and short and sweet, we've got one last thing here before we stretch out. We're going to channel our core just really quickly. We're going to do 3 different exercises. One will be per side. You've only got one round here, 45 seconds of each exercise. And then we're stretching out. That's very doable, right? Okay, we're gonna do it one exercise at a time. Stick with me here. We are almost at the finish line. The first one we're gonna do will be from the ground. It will be a side plank hold. So you're gonna come onto the elbow. You have the choice of either stacking the feet or coming up from the knee. So this is the modified version of holding it from the knee. Now, if this doesn't feel quite intense enough, you can stack the feet, holding up this way. Whatever you decide, let's try and keep this hand from, being too much support, so trying to keep it away. If you just want it for balance, that's fine. But if you find you're really relying on it, I would suggest going down towards the knee. Core nice and tight, hips high here. Should be feeling a good burn through that side. I know I am.
Rest.
Good. Couple seconds, switch to the other side. Again, you can do it from the knee or the stacked feet. Remember, we only got to do one round of this.
Let's go.
So let's make it count. Core nice and tight here. Should be feeling this fairly exclusively on one side. You might notice that one side is a little tougher than the other as well.
Halfway there.
Keep it up. I'm not gonna lie, I'm focusing right now.
10 seconds. Rest.
Woo! Lying on our backs here. Last two exercises. Legs are gonna come up. They don't need to be totally straight. Arms up overhead. You're reaching to the opposite side. So kind of the outside of the opposite foot. Core nice and tight here.
Halfway there.
Almost there.
10 seconds.
If this is too challenging, you just slow it down a bit. You don't do as many.
Rest.
Good. Last exercise here. We got bicycles. Make sure I got enough room. Hands behind head.
Last round.
One knee up. Switching. Now, if you feel this in your neck, I encourage you to press your head into your hands. And if this is too challenging, you can always put feet down and alternate.
Halfway there.
Or do a combination of both.
10 seconds. Well done.
Woo! Come on out of that nice and slow or quick, depending on how you're feeling. We're gonna start with an abdominal stretch for our cool down. So lying flat on our tummies, legs are straight, head down, hands tucked in by our sides. You have the option to just pull up slightly if that feels like enough for you, or you can come all the way up into that upward dog position. Shoulders back here, core nice and tight. You made it through. Good. Take a couple seconds here. If you're feeling any pressure in your lower back, then just take it down a notch. We're going to bring one leg out in front for a pigeon stretch. So leg comes up and across. Back leg is straight, stretching through our glute. Hands can be up to assist you. If this feels really tight, you can always put a pillow under your bum. And keep in mind, we're trying to feel fairly neutral in that leg. So we don't want to be too far one way or the other. It should feel like a nice stretch in your glute. Good, and when you're ready, switch sides. Awesome job today. Good. Just lean into that stretch. You're always welcome to pause our cool downs. I encourage you not to skip them. Make sure you do your stretches. It's great for preventing injuries. It's great for increasing mobility, and it's when your muscles are the warmest, so you have the most benefit. Good. Move into a 4-point kneeling position. We are going to do some wrist stretches. So palms are facing down, slightly closer to your knees, and then you're using your hips to rock forward a bit. Should feel like a stretch across the front of the wrist. Now, if you work a desk job, this might feel really tight, so just take it nice and easy. Just gentle movements back and forth. Okay, then you're going to switch the grip, and again, if this feels really tight, you might want to only do one side at a time, or you can do both. Fingers are facing me. Same thing, using that leverage from my hips to determine how big of a stretch that is. And you can come out of that nice and gently. Just give them a little bit of a roll. Come on up to standing. Last stretch we're going to do, across the body, shoulder stretch. Keeping in mind, we're not trying to hunch up to our ear. Nice and relaxed, pulling across. Good, and switch sides. Good, shake it out. Now, if there's anything else you want to stretch out, by all means do so. You made it through the workout. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please let me know. Comment, give me a like, just so I know to keep up with these. I'd love your feedback as to what more I can do for you. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.